Well, he was listed today as a full participant in practice for a second straight day. And Kevin, usually when players are practicing in full for 2 straight days, that's usually a sign that they're ready to go for the upcoming game. And it's certainly trending that way for Patrick Mahomes. We'll see if he has any setbacks for that high ankle sprain. But right now, the rest of the season, we'll see if that turns out to be right. Meanwhile, Hollywood Brown, a full participant in practice today, putting him on track to make his season debut this weekend against the Houston Texans. It looks like he'll be back in the lineup, giving the Chiefs one more weapon. Got hurt in the preseason, suffered that shoulder injury, and now looks to be recovered enough to get back onto the football field. And the same is true for Patrick Mahomes, who also, for a second straight day, Kevin, was listed as a full participant in practice. 2 straight days of full practices is an indication that Patrick Mahomes intends to play Saturday when the Chiefs play the Texans and they continue to vie for that number 1 seed in the AFC. It looks like right now Mahomes will be out there and Carson Wentz will not be.
Okay, let me tell you, though, when it comes to Mahomes missing starts, just 4 of them since he became the Chiefs starter in 2018, the Chiefs are 2-2 in those games. As for his opponent, C.J. Stroud, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL against the blitz in the first 6 weeks of the season. How about the 93 QBR, ranked second behind Jaden Daniels? But then it all went downhill. Stroud's 20 QBR versus the blitz since week 7 ranks last in the league. Could be an issue this week because the Chiefs blitz at the 3rd highest rate in the league. And that brings us to this conversation here at J-Mac. Steve Spagnuolo, when you watch his defense there, how does he try to make life hard for C.J. Stroud?
Spags is so fun to watch when you turn on the film of his defense because he blitzes a ton, the 4th most in the NFL. But what's so unique about it is the amount of unblocked defenders when he does blitz. No one has to put a move on anybody. I could go out there and blitz and get a sack. The 2nd most unblocked pressures, you see right here, they're bringing Nick Bolton on the inside, and he comes scot-free to the quarterback and makes an easy sack. There's nothing the quarterback can do in a situation like that. Bo Nix right here, Najee Johnson up top, coming off the cornerback blitz. Right now, he's unaccounted for. Nobody touches him on a straight path to the quarterback. But what's so fascinating to me was this play. When you're bringing pressure all game long, the quarterback uses cadence. And right here, you yell to your guys, come on out. He got us. And now the middle linebacker, Nick Bolton, starts checking. Everybody communicates. All 11 guys get the call. And this is so hard to do. And now you get to a completely different coverage. You get to cover 2. You drop back. And now the quarterback has to figure that out when he just checked into a play to combat the blitz and the pressure that you're bringing. Well, now you're dropping everybody. He's forced to hold on to the ball, and you still get a sack.
That video is insane.
And that was Chris Jones at defensive end, so
yes,
like you create that one-on-one in a way.
Yep, good point.
I think your point of that cut split corner blitz is a concern if I'm Houston as well, because Houston likes to get into those condensed cut splits. And as a quarterback, the corner's pressure, like, I don't know if you're blitzing or not. You know, and so that's the strength. My concern is that strength matches up with Houston's weakness. If I'm Houston, because, and it's specifically the inside, the guards of the Houston Texans are going to get absolutely abused in the games. The interior has been the issue all week, but to my point, the guards. And all Spags is going to do is run what we call these pick stunts, where a linebacker is going to wrap and pin the hip of that guard, and then that defensive tackle. Guys, 3 offensive linemen are blocking absolutely nobody. Like, this has got to drive Bobby Slowick absolutely out of his freaking mind, because it happens all the time. Sometimes it doesn't even mean a pressure is going to happen, a blitzer. They'll just do those internal stunts. If you're Kansas City and you're going to get Chris Jones doing this with a Mike Dana or a George Karlaftis, that guard is looking out to his right. Dude, you should probably at some point get your eyes back inside, because here comes that loop. And again, both guards blocking absolutely nobody. One of them's on the ground. And if you're Kansas City, you're sitting there going, great. Now there's 7-man per hesitation. J-Mac, you know you're going to do this. I only got 6. I got an issue. My guards, left guard, center, and left tackle go left. That means I only have 3 to the right, guys. CJ, if you have 3 and they bring 4,
gotta go.
Ball's got to get out of your hand, bud. And that's the main concern going into this game is the interior play. The guards are going to get picked and stunted in games so much. And even then, you know Spags is going to show you more, and he's going to say, you're not ready or plan for it, and we'll get home.
So, Hawk, how does this Texans offense respond to something like
that? Good luck indeed. And the Chiefs need to have a plan for the bunch concept, specifically Tank Dell and how they use him out of bunch. And it's a leverage point for the Texans. They use bunch and they line up in it more than any other team in the league, because they can put Tank Dell everywhere. Right here, he's number 1, and he plays the DB's leverage to go inside, out, and then create that hole for CJ. Next up, he's going to be the inside man purposely, because he knows the point man is guarding him. You don't see a single move, because this is a negotiation route. When you have leverage, you keep the leverage. Lastly, he's going to be back on the outside leverage from the corner. You're going to see him play his technique, go inside to go out, and use that against him. Tank Dell has such speed. They line him on the inside, the outside, at the point. They'll give him a full route tree out of bunch. It's such a big part of their game plan. The Chiefs need to have an answer.
Houston wins. That'll be the reason why. That bunch stuff will be the reason why. Because Kansas City's defense has not been the defense of old, and they have struggled significantly with that. Blown coverages, passing things off in the main coverage, getting bumped off. They've allowed people to run free. Houston wins. That will be the reason why.
Keep in mind, too, you talked about that video you showed where you got three guys just trying to figure out who's blocking who.
Bro.
Stroud has been under pressure on his dropbacks 35% of the time this season. That is 30th in the league. How are you protecting that guy? The franchise
And they wonder why the quarterback play hasn't been as good.
Yeah, exactly. Well said. Coming up, what's the secret behind rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels? The first-year Falcons quarterback has been replaced by the 9th overall pick rookie Michael Penix Jr., who will start Sunday against the Giants. Cousins and his teammates were asked about the decision moments ago. It's new on NFL Live.
You know, it's pro football, and there's a standard that I have for myself, that the team has for me, that unfortunately, I wasn't playing up to that standard consistently enough, and so, it is what it is, and you roll with it, and now, you still get ready, one play away kind of a thing, and support Mike, and just try to help our team, be able to find a way to win these last three to get in the playoffs. The results weren't good enough, but I think that, from a confidence standpoint, I don't think that was changing. If anything, maybe you need, less confidence to not, try to force the ball into tighter windows. So I don't think it's confidence as much as just got to make great decisions. You got to make great decisions all the time, and if you don't, you pay for it.
All right, looking at the Falcons' schedule, their final three games. You got the Giants, then the Commanders, and then you close out with the Panthers, a game back of the Bucs in the NFC South. Let's get back to Adam Schefter. Shefty, what do you know about why the decision was made this week here with Kirk Cousins?
I think that the Falcons had seen enough. Essentially, it was a case where the production had fallen off. They struggled in the red zone. It looked like Kirk Cousins wasn't entirely comfortable throwing off that foot where he suffered the Achilles. There are any number of factors, but the bottom line is he wasn't producing at a high enough level. They weren't winning at a consistent enough level, and they felt, the Falcons did, that going into...
Hey there, Chiefs fan. We've got a big matchup on the horizon, and there's a lot to talk about. The Kansas City Chiefs are gearing up to face the Houston Texans this Saturday, and as always, all eyes are on Patrick Mahomes. But here's the twist, there's some drama brewing. You probably heard about it. Texans defensive tackle Tim Settle Jr. sent out what many are calling an odd warning to Mahomes and the Chiefs. Now, we'll dig into exactly what he said in just a bit, but before that, let's set the stage. Mahomes is coming off an ankle injury from last week's game against the Browns, and while he's been a full participant in practice, we're all wondering, will he be at 100%? What's your take? Do you think Mahomes should play through the injury or rest up for the playoffs? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Now, let's dive into what Settle Jr. said and what it means for this game. Alright, now let's talk about that bold statement from Tim Settle Jr. He didn't just say, "We're coming to win." No, he went all in with a warning. Pat better make good decisions. "I ain't making no threats, I'm making promises." Whoa, that's some serious confidence, right? Settle is clearly aware of the spotlight on Mahomes, especially with that ankle injury lingering. And while it's easy to brush off as just trash talk, there's more to it. This is a veteran player with experience against the Chiefs, and let's be honest, this isn't the first time a defensive player has tried to get under Mahomes' skin. But, considering how Settle has only recorded for tackles in his career against KC, it's interesting that he's going this hard. Do you think this is all just mind games, or does Settle genuinely believe the Texans can take advantage of Mahomes' injury? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Vote in our poll right now. Do you think Settle's statement is a smart tactic or just a bad call? Before we jump into Mahomes' record against Houston, let's take a second to think about what this could mean for the Texans. Now, let's take a closer look at Patrick Mahomes' history with the Texans. In his first starts against them, he's been pretty dominant. We're talking about 1,141 passing yards, 13 touchdowns, and just 1 interception. Yeah, that's the kind of performance that makes defenses shiver. But here's the twist, Mahomes has been battling that ankle injury. Will the real Mahomes show up, or will the injury affect his game? Despite the injury, Mahomes is no stranger to rising to the occasion. especially when there's a little extra motivation. Settle's comments could very well light a fire under him. If there's one thing we know about Mams, it's that he thrives when people doubt him. So, it's safe to say Settle might have just made a mistake by calling out one of the NFL's biggest playmakers. Do you think Mams will rise to the challenge again, even with the injury? Or do you think the Texans' defense will finally have the edge? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And vote in our poll, will Mams throw for 300 yards against the Texans? Next, we'll dive into the Chiefs' offensive line and whether they can give Mams the protection he needs. Let's shift gears and talk about the Chiefs' offensive line, which, as Settle pointed out, has had its struggles this season. This group has faced criticism for not always providing the best protection, and with Mams dealing with that ankle injury, the pressure is on them to step up their game. Settle and the Texans' defensive line will be looking to exploit any gaps, especially with a potentially less mobile Mams. But here's the thing, the Chiefs' O-line has also shown resilience at times. They've been able to step up when it matters most. Will they be able to do that on Saturday? Can they give Mams enough time to make those big plays down the field? What do you think, can the offensive line hold up against the Texans' defensive pressure? Or will Mams have to do more running than he'd like? Share your thoughts and drop your predictions in the comments. Now, let's wrap things up with what we can expect from this crucial game. Alright, Chiefs fan, it all comes down to this Saturday. With Mams' health in question and the Texans bringing their game, we're in for an exciting battle. Will Settle's bold words motivate Mams to deliver another monster performance, or will the Texans' defense find a way to exploit the Chiefs' weaknesses? One thing's for sure, this is going to be a game to remember. As always, we'll be here with the full breakdown after the game. So, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss it. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.